Ulster, obviously a very close and disappointing loss at Ravenhill last year. Is there a point to prove? Is there scores to settle this weekend?
I think there's always a point to prove. It's a home game in the European Cup, and we haven't won at home yet in the European Cup. And that I would say is on its own our biggest driver. We want to come out here at home and put on the sort of performance that people can be proud of, and that the people that come to watch will go away saying, I was there when we played against Ulster. The game earlier in the year was a really tough game. It was a bit of a heartbreaker at the end. Especially because we were in a period there where we weren't playing that well. But actually, the intensity of that game was probably a point where we started to really hit the sort of intensity in training and intensity in matches that we felt we really needed to be competitive. So we're looking forward to it. It's a big game for them. They've got to come here and win. They've got to probably realistically take a bonus point as well. So I imagine it'll be a very good game.
And you've got two Northern Irishmen in the squad who've both got lots of family and friends coming over. It's going to be special for them. How important is it for Gareth Stevenson and Ian Whitten? And I'm sure they will focus on the game, but they don't have too many distractions. They try not to be distracted going into the game.
It's a positive distraction in a way. It's a bit like when we played against Bath. It was really important to us. I know we kind of scrambled that one at the end. But for the guys who've come down from Bath, it's really important to the rest of the squad to put on a good show. It's exactly the same with these. It's an important game for them, for the Irish lads. And that's just a nice little motivation for everybody else. I think it tends to be a more positive thing for everybody because, a bit like playing against Tigers, it's a big game for everybody to make sure that Jeff and Jules and Tank can sit there after the game feeling fairly comfortable. We're looking forward to it. It'll be good for them. And we'll see how it goes.
That's all I need.
Rob, the other Rob has talked about the frustration of those two earlier defeats, particularly against Bordeaux and Ulster, and had you won those, you'd be in a fighting position this weekend. Is it something that nags with you coaches a little bit, that you haven't quite...
Every loss always nags it. Everything nags at me. It does. I think, obviously, particularly the manner of the defeat against Clermont, that was a real low point for us. To be fair, but again, we've moved on. We've probably learned a lot from the first part of the season, coming into the season and how we approached it, and we'll look to put that into place at the start and going into the competition next year. Right now, it's purely just we've got good momentum. We've been playing well. We've had our moments where we've scrapped it out, but overall, we're playing pretty well. We're in a pretty good place. Got a lot of players up on their feet and wanting to play, so it's about pushing forward with those and getting stuck into another game.
It's a word that you've used, and also the players recently, momentum, and having gone 6 games unbeaten in the Premiership, you've got that first ever win in France. It's, like you say, it's a good place to be at the moment.
It is. This game will be, I know there's a sort of there could be a way of looking at it. There's not much in it for us. We always have something in the game for us, but also momentum is key. The win away in France was a really important win for some of those players who've never won away in France. It's an important win for the club because at some point we're going to be back in this competition and going to need to win away in France. So it's important to do that. These are important games for young players. We've got some lads out there. Arguably, you take a Johnny Hill for instance. The Ospreys game last year was a key game for him, and his sort of learning and also sort of seating himself right in the squad. These are key games for some of the young players and us as a squad. These are the ones that you look back on and go, right, that's where we learned how to play in Europe, because sometimes it is a little bit different. It's different teams that you're not seeing every week like you do in the Premiership, and similarly with the referees. So that experience is really, really key.
And finally, for me, you talked about Ulster having to win and potentially getting a bonus point, but we like to win here, don't we? We don't like to lose home games, and that's going to, like you say, a big driver.
Absolutely, it's the main driver for us every time we play here. We want to win at home, and we want to play well, and we want to score 5 points.